Hello, good afternoon. You're welcome to Agenda on TV3. My name is Deborah Kwabla. Today we are looking at the digital address system and how it affects development. We know what it takes for one to give direction in Ghana. Is it that the plantain seller or the cocoa seller by the junction? And we know banks and utility companies are losing millions because of their inability to properly identify properties and where people live. Now we have the Ghana Post GPS. Is that the game changer for this country? With me in the studio to do this discussion, from far left, we have Mr. Alfred Akwesi Opoku. He's the President, Ghana Institute of Planners. By Mr. Opoku, we have Dr. Alex Berima Owusu. He's a Senior Lecturer, Department of Geography and Resource Department from the University of Ghana. And on my immediate left, we have Mr. Kweku Tebi Amponsa. He's the Acting Deputy Managing Director from Ghana Post. Welcome, gentlemen, to Agenda.
Thank you.
We'll start with you, Dr. Verma. The launch of the Ghana Post GPS, what would we have lost, or what have we been losing as a country because of our inability to identify properties properly?
Thank you. And let me start by saying that at least we've had one good news to start with. But then I've been saying over and over that Ghana's development has delayed because of two things. One, individual identification, and two, location identification. So this idea of Ghana Post GPS is supposed to fix the problem of location identification. And so I think it's now that Ghana is setting the path for development. Because if you really want to trace anybody, you know, let's say if you want to take an economy, even the developed economies thrives on two things. It's based on technology and trust for the individuals, right? What that means is, if you want to get, say, a loan, or you want to get credit, so you have a credit card or something, the credit card company will give you the credit line with the anticipation that you will be paying for how much you use. So if you don't have money, you can still survive. Now, if you don't, then you deserve to be punished, right? If you want to punish you, how are we going to get you to punish? So you have to have your identity. And so in a country like US, you have your social security number, which is your identity. And it's tied to you where you live, where you work, everything that you do. So it comes back to the point that if somebody wants to punish you, they don't need to know you in person. But once they know your identity, they can punish you without you knowing. So it eliminates human touch or human face to things. And that is why they are able to push development forward. So if you don't want to get a job, then you just spoil your credit, destroy your credit by owing so much and you don't pay. So you go for a job interview and the person who is interviewing you will go and check your credit report, and he checks your credit report and it shows that you've been owing for so many years, or you work at a place that you even abandon the work without giving proper notice in order to go. So basically what I'm saying is that we are fixing the problem one by one by having location identification, and following from that we get individual identification. Once we get these things in place, now we can move on. Even corruption can be fight this way, because in Ghana, one of the things that we always complain about is that whenever somebody commits a crime and you want to punish the person, he knows a big man, he goes to see the big man will come and see you. It's because there's always a human face to everything. There's a human touch. What about if you fail to pay and I don't know you, I put it on your credit?
Then it's difficult to find you.
How are you coming to see me with a politician to come and beg me to forgive you, right? So now we are pushing the agenda to development. So the critical problem we are fixing now is that now Ghana wants to develop. So we are fixing the development path.
Mr. Opoku, what does it mean for the Institute of Planners, for planners generally?
Thank you very much. It's like the final solution to the Jack, where are you problem. That is, where is what particular business is located? Who are there? You remember that not too long ago, 2-3 years back, Ghana attempted this property addressing system. That one, the municipal assemblies, municipal and district and metropolitan assemblies themselves were funding it. And were going about, supported by Land Use and Spatial Plan Authority, what we used to call the town and country planning. They went around trying to address properties in Ghana. Every house should have an address, the number and the street number and all. They could not complete funding issues. The essence of it was that collecting taxes in Ghana, where is the house and what is the property inside it? And even with that, if you are going to know that, you can only get to know the properties of the house in terms of where it is and so on. But navigating to the place had to be done elsewhere. And that is why the digital system is coming to support. So that you can press a button, because whoever registered, you are put together at a national base somewhere in a system, that somebody can press a button, and then once your name is brought up, popped up, we can follow a navigation all the way to the particular house that it is. So this one is going to support the activities of the Land Use and Spatial Plan Authority, so that they can be quick enough to go to where there is a need to locate somebody, something, or property, and apply the appropriate tax for raising revenue for the district assemblies. Probably what a few things political that have been said is that it has gone ahead of, the property addressing system. You should have finished that. I'm not going to answer that politically because I'm not, as far as this platform is concerned. But what is happening is that Land Use and Spatial Plan Authority, again, former town and country plan, is a technical committee member of this digitizing system. And if we have not even finished naming all the streets, we can use this digitizing thing. When it is running around on paper, if it gets to a street which is not named, it will say unknown street. Unnamed street. It will tell us that even though Accra says they have finished 100%, if it's named unnamed street, it tells us to go there and put a name and complete the structure. So it's a complementary thing that is going to help many other ways. So for us as Town and Country Land Use and Spatial Plan Authority and Ghana Institute of Planners, we are happy. It's a first step towards what we are hoping for. And as development agents and advocates for positive change, as far as human livelihood is concerned, we welcome it, and we are going to ensure that any correction that needs to be done to make it complete will be done and ensure that we get the things done. So we are happy with it.
You're happy with it?
We're happy with it.
The President says this is the solution we've been waiting for. Let's listen to what the President said specifically, and then we'll come back and discuss in detail. We're back.
Every land or property will be assigned a unique identifier. This will facilitate improved ownership data and unique identification of properties and persons. A proper addressing of properties will help ensure efficient delivery of services for economic development. With the ability to identify clearly the location of businesses and persons, we will be empowered with new ways of doing business. The power to access information and the ability to do instant validation and verification will make many business ventures that were previously unviable immediately viable and ultimately sustainable for the future.
You're welcome back. You heard the President very optimistic about the issue. Is this the game changer for Ghana Post?
Yes. Thank you, Deborah. This is a game changer for Ghana Post. First of all, we are excited to have the opportunity to execute this project. Originally, it was not for Ghana Post to execute. When it was given to us, we took it with a lot of joy and excitement because we believe that it will, apart from enhancing the lives of individuals and institutions in Ghana, it will bring a lot of benefit to us as Ghana Post. We are into delivery. Delivery is one of the main things we do. So if we know where our customer is or where the item needs to be sent to, then it will bring in new business. We kindly use post boxes, and we call people for them to come and pick their registered items. So if we can have somebody's digital address, then it's so easy. So
is that what we are planning to do, or that is what we can do? Because we need to know clearly if Ghana Post is going to, moving forward, do door deliveries.
If Ghana Post has a comprehensive plan to move straight into doing door to door, we kindly do that, but not to the extent we want it. This is providing opportunity for us to give it more focus. So we have targeted several hundreds of thousands of homes that we can begin to deal with. So it's going to change our game.
Tell us a little bit about the Ghana Post GPS for those of us who do not know the details.
Okay, the Ghana Post GPS is a system that was fully funded by the government of Ghana to provide digital address for individuals and institutions in Ghana. So a system has been developed that has mapped every inch of Ghana. Within every 5-meter inch, there is an address. Okay. The intent is that everyone will have an address. Everyone can be found at any point in time. If there is an issue, emergency issue, if you need to transact any business, you have an address you can use. This, because of how it is done, it covers everybody, including even people who do not have permanent structures, like the cocoa seller, like people who sell on the streets. They can have address they can use.
But those who sell on the street, some of them, they ply the trade at a particular corner of the street, but they live somewhere else.
There's opportunity for them to register their business. And in registration of business, in applying for loan, you need an address. This provides that opportunity for people in that kind of business too.
Dr. Burma, the president was very optimistic about the issues. This is going to help change a lot of things. Are you that optimistic about the issues?
I would say yes. It has a long-term future. The state of it now puts a lot of usability questions that needs to be addressed. And for that matter, when those things are addressed, I think it's quite useful. Why am I saying that? Let's say it's graded into 5 meters by 5 meters. If my house, my compound is more than 5 meters, it basically means I'm going to have like 2 or 3 digital addressing system right there, right? And they all belong to me. So if I stand anywhere, any corner of my area, I can pick one, right? So which one are you going to use to label my house, right? And again, if you want to get access to my house, you have to drive. So there must be a path or a road that has to be named. As of now, where I live in my house, there's a street, but it's not named, right? So all these questions have to be answered. You remember the gentleman mentioned about everybody sitting at every corner can have an address. And as you might know, cocoa sellers are not permanent. So mobile structures, how do they get an address for you to trace them? You know, so you can't register a business in a mobile structure, so to speak. It has to be a permanent structure. That is where we can trace you. But that's not to say it's not useful. It's very useful because in the conventional or traditional addressing system, we map it to the building plot, which can be captured either by the parcel or by the building footprint. So the whole building plot has one address. But in this current system, you might end up having one building plot having multiple, which makes it a problem, so to speak, even though it can be addressed. What we have been doing over the years is to map building footprint or building plots. And here with this digital system, if you get people to do it, it will be a little bit easier because you might not even need to, because like in the traditional system, you may need aerial photos which are very expensive to capture. If you want to cover the whole country, you need an area photo, then you trace the building footprint. But right now, you can get people with their smartphones, they can pick 4 corners of the building, and quickly you can plot it and get a full building plot, so to speak. So, I mean, it has its own potential and it has a lot of other opportunities. It does not replace the traditional street naming and property addressing system, but I think it's a very good one to complement that. Again, even if you capture the building footprint, one of the things you have to do is to visit the house to document who is the owner, how many people live there, and so on. Because if we are doing land valuation, which is basis for revenue for the district assemblies, you need a plot size. You need the number of rooms, the number of people who live there, how many rooms are for rent, and how many rooms are for the owner, right? So going forward, somebody maps it, you already have it, and if you add more attribute to the GPS that they have, even the house owner can code in the information without necessarily sending people or making other expenses. So it's a good start, and I'm happy about it, but we need to do more. A time will come maybe, because if you pick the point right now, the attribute field that's provided are just about 3, right? Your name and some few others. Others are automatically filled up for you. But there will be a time we have to add up so that there will be additional fields that you have to complete yourself.
Including owner of property.
Correct.
And things like that.
And it's becoming a major problem, especially if you go to our traditional areas where the building owner itself, the primary owner, passes away, and the house is divided among 5 children, and everybody has a portion of it. So if you want to collect property rate, whom do you go to? Who owns what? And stuff like that. So it's about time we get those comprehensive database. And not only this, even census. This thing can be used for census, so to speak, which will make it very comprehensive, because if I'm the owner, I can give you the details of everybody who lives in my house through this system. So it has a very good potential. You can use it for a lot, but it's still work in progress. It's the beginning, and I think that we need to work on it very much to make it more usable.
You want to react to that?
Yes, I want to make a few comments on what Dr.
Berman.
Okay. It is true the system is designed to give address within every 5 meters. Yeah. Meter square. Okay. The advice is that the address is picked outside the house. So when you go into the app, it asks that you stand outside. So for instance, your gate.
Outside the gate.
For instance, I will use in front of my gate.
Okay.
To pick the address. When you get the address, you need to save the address. Then you need to register it in the same app. When you are registering, it's asking for an ID. So your passports, your license, or your NHIs, which is unique to every individual. It makes it possible for you to trace the address to a particular person.
Who does that registration? Because like Dr. Berma said, I live in the same compound with my husband, my children, and my children are downloading the app. My husband has downloaded. I live in a compound house, and there are 3 tenants, so everyone is standing in front of the gate and taking. Now there's a registration. Who registers? Because that's very important.
Every individual has the opportunity to register.
Even if I'm a tenant of a household?
Yes. So the tenant has a place you can find him or her in the house. Okay. So if it's a house for just an individual in the family, it's easier. You pick it at the gate and apply it to everyone. Sorry. If it's like a compound house, multiple tenants, okay, everyone can have his or her address. That will be unique to the person. The person will just need to stand in front of the entrance to that portion of the house where the person lives and takes the address. You have 2 options: to take for residential or for official. Okay. And the system keeps track of the addresses you have used for a period. So it will be advisable for you to register one at a time. So if for instance, this is my house, I stand there, I pick in front of my gate. After 2 years, I relocate to Dansoman. I have the opportunity
to stand there and do another...
To do an update.
Mr. Opoku, what would this help the MMDAs to do, especially in terms of revenue collection? How will this help them to increase their revenue collection? Because we know currently property rate collection is one of those challenging things for MMDAs.
Very interesting. Let me add up an alternative position on the cocoa seller who cannot be registered. It's not usually the case. Possession is about 90% acquisition. In front of my office, there's a cocoa seller who have been selling there for all the 6 years that I've been there. Everybody knows she's there. When she hasn't come by 7 o'clock, we see queues. If she wants to do business, she can register at that point. That is where her business is.
But assuming the cocoa seller decides to relocate, assuming she owns a bank and she decides to relocate, she's very mobile. It's
when she relocates, she
her.
can register again at the new location.
But
as long as she decides to be here for the next 2 years and he wants her business to grow.
By using that as a case for registration, business registration, and giving you the opportunity to get access to credit and things like that.
Yeah. I mean,
isn't that challenging? Because she can relocate.
When she has been given us that indication, if you relocate, update your new location on the app. So if you want everybody,
and if she doesn't,
then
she's difficult
then she has lost her business. If anybody is serious, even those coconut peelers, everybody knows in a particular area where a coconut peeler stands every day. If she wants to do business, I want everybody to know that he sells coconut here, and that's registration. Anybody looking on the system can know that if I go this way up to this point, there's a coconut seller there.
Won't this encourage setting up businesses at places that are not permitted? Because we see people set up business on street corners, pavements, and all that.
Let's not debate that much. Once the assembly has allowed that person, the woman, to sell cocoa for 4 years.
It doesn't make it right.
It doesn't make it right, but then now that she wants to register and do business and improve, because they go and collect the ticket every day, in any case. So let's not get into that legality. But what I'm saying is that if anybody has stayed at a place for the past 4 years, 6 years, and everybody knows him there, and wants to register and be taxed, and also increase her or his revenue, I'm sure that the system can take it. But besides that, I'm adding that assemblies have had the problem of, in this particular house, what is there? I was part, Ghana Institute of Planners and Land Use and Special Planning was part of the technical committee that started building this thing up when His Excellency the Vice President made a point earlier that this thing was going to be done. What we realized was that we needed this to ensure that every business is registered, because in the assemblies, the problem they're finding is that there is a house, 3-story building. Who knows what is going on inside there? There were going to be 2 ways of doing it. We needed an aerial photography, aeroplanes equipped with specific pictures, something to go and take pictures all over the country. And then when it gets that pictures, we are going to send people to follow the pictures, go into every house, 3-story, 4-story, whatever it is. And then we would name and register every little business that is going on inside the house. A lot of people are doing pure water, as we call them. They are in a house, locked from the outside. Who knows what is going there? But if this thing is done so that we can locate what economic activity is going on inside there, then the assembly, or the Metropolitan Assembly, can go in and say that we have registered business here, and so come and pay the tax. The reason many people are escaping tax payment is that the house in which they are doing their business is not registered, number one. And they have also not registered the business they are doing in that particular house. So this is going to help. As I said from the beginning, through 4 years back, the assembly themselves started locating every house, giving them the street name and a number, and to ensure that they know what is going on inside there. As at now, they have only been able to complete the street naming, which was easier. Accra here, almost every street has a name.
No, not my place.
Probably you're outside. But after
now,
I've seen
now West, I'm not outside. I'm very close to the center.
After I've seen the street name, what is the number on the house? And what is inside the house? I need to know this to be able to.
And that requires a lot of physical presence to be able to do that.
Yes,
well, we'll go for a break. When we come back, we'll talk to Mr. Stephen Jaba. He's from the Licensed Surveyors Association. We'll be back shortly. Hello, you're welcome back. This is Agenda on TV3. We are discussing the Ghana Post GPS and how it affects development. We have on Skype Mr. Stephen Jaba. He's the International Relations Officer, Licensed Surveyors Association. And let me share with you a quote from the Licensed Surveyors Association. They said the Licensed Surveyors Association says the launch of the digital address system represents a giant step towards a comprehensive framework for property identification in Ghana. They said the Licensed Surveyors Association, they also explained that the teething challenges with the use of a digital application can be resolved to enable all Ghanaians use the digital technology without hitches. And we have Mr. Jaba via Skype. Good afternoon, Mr. Jaba. Hello, Mr. Jaba.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good to have you via Skype.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Yes, you indicated that this represents a giant step, and you want to throw more light on that.
Yes, it is a step that has come to stay, that we believe that if all of us embrace it the way that it's intended for, that every property in this country will be numbered and will be located, it will be able to enhance every form of business and anything that we really intended to do. Even though there are other hints that's just happened in the early days, but we believe that as we all cooperate together with all professionals, it should be able to help us. Basically, it is required a base map or the GIS map that will be able to assist other people to be able to see their streets, named and other things. But that is not the intention for this program for now, but I know that is the other or a scale-up version that needs to come. That will be able to help each and everyone to be able to locate your property. And it is a universal program that everywhere in the world you could be able to use to locate yourself. So as we all get together and look at the problem that has come, we can all work towards it, and we help Ghana Post to bring Ghana Post back to life. I think it will be an economic solution for us in Ghana.
Well, what specific challenges have you noticed, and what should we do to fix those?
One of the challenges that people complain is that because a house, when they register, and they start at a different location, they are getting different coordinates. It is true, because it has divided and has been subdivided into a meter square. So when you change your position in your house,
5 meters square, we are told. Hello, Mr. Jaba,
yeah,
5 meters square, we are told.
That within the 5 meter square in the international grid, it also comes to 1 meter square. So within that, any step that you make in your house, outside 1 meter, the last 3 digits will be changing on your computer, because you are using a computer base. And because it's a satellite, there are some errors that will still come. So you see that the last 3 digits on your point will be changed, but the location of your house will never change. The 4th point when you are going to the other side, that figure will never change. Your zip code will also be the same figure. So as that continues, your location will still remain. But that is an issue where it can also be resolved, and that does not change your location where you are.
Well, and how do we resolve those specifically?
Yeah, for that one, it is a global, because you are using GPS, and the GPS, you are using normal satellite that tracking at the same time. It depends on the accuracy of your smartphone or what phone you are using. But that does not change the identification of your property or wherever you are, because you are talking of 5 meters. So within 5 meters, you can still be located. If you send somebody to come to your house and you are plotting on the map, 5 meters cannot be seen so easily. So it can still get you to where you are. Even within a tolerance of 15 meters on the map can still locate you to where you are when you are driving to your house. So some of the problem people complain in terms of security. Yes, in terms of security data, we all know that every network or every server can be hacked on. We believe that Post are inconsistent to protect the server for their data will not be hacked, so that in future people will have access to our database. And I know that one can also be solved. America, as we know, their system was hacked into, but they have found a way of solving the problem. So it's something that can also be done in Ghana.
Yeah, Mr. Jabba, what next? What should we do to make sure that we have a comprehensive digital address system?
I believe Ghana Post will need to collaborate with the necessary agencies, like the survey and mapping department, all the surveyors, all the planners, anybody that has something to contribute, need to put together. So we all bring our data on board. For example, Google has used a base that they are using, but the other places in Ghana that Google has no problem. So we can start people like Ghana Electricity Corporation has done a lot of job. Ghana Water has done a lot of job.
Hello, Mr. Jabba. Hello. Mr. Jabba, we are losing you. Hello. Hello. We are losing connectivity. Thank you very much, and all the best. We know that you are one of the stakeholders who will need to work with Ghana Post to get this up and running. So thank you very much, and good afternoon to you. You wanted to make a reaction to what Doc said.
Yes, in Doctor's first submission, he spoke about credit card system, national ID system. The digital addressing system is going to be what the national ID will be based on. Okay, and so all those things he was talking about in the Western world, where whatever you do is kept on your card, you can be tracked. You actually have a trail of the life of an individual.
So, for instance, someone who is renting and moving will be able to track all the addresses the person has used in the past?
Yes. All those things.
For how long? Or for life?
For life. At least for more than 10 years. For more than 10 years. For now, for more than 10 years. Okay. It's a system we are developing, and we are still in the process of implementation between now and December. Few things are coming up. We are taking note of those things, and
then by next year, full rollout. Is that what it is?
Yes.
Because you said from now to December. So what are we doing from now to December, and what are we expecting in general?
We are still in the process of implementation. The system is set and it is running. Okay, as a system, there will be issues here and there. People are raising issues. We are looking at whether those issues are things that need to be captured or not. So we are still working on implementing a system that will solve the addressing system for Ghana.
Doug, there are a lot of things that we need to do. Yeah. The street naming, the property address is what we get from this digital. But then we also talked about that very important component of who owns the house, who is transferring and all that. What does it take to get all these things in place, and what timeline should we look at as a country so that we can get it right?
Well, thank you. Well, you see, I don't know whether there's an impression that I'm saying is not good. No, that's not what I'm saying. For me, it's a very good step. What I'm saying is that there's more to be done to make it usable and, as comprehensive as we want. We've mentioned all these things. Even the most critical point that we haven't mentioned is emergency response. That is really needed in this country, right? So that's well said, and I think we can get it done, right? Now, moving forward, I think what we need to look at is what are the things that need to be constrained in the system, because we assume that, like registration, everybody will register. In reality, no. Not everybody will do it. Two, we may be thinking that even everybody will give us the right information that we want. But it's not true. Because if somebody is a cocoa seller sitting here and he has used this place to get a loan, and he wants to run away without paying the loan, if he moves to another place, do you think he will register again? He won't register. That's the point. We are thinking about properties, multiple owners, and things like that. We need to come out with some regulations and systems that will enforce people to do it. Because in other jurisdictions, if somebody comes to rent your house, you have to report who has rented a place in your house.
In fact, the laws of Ghana says you have to pay some tax.
Correct. And that's what, there was even a disagreement between Ghana Revenue Authority and district assemblies as to who has to get that tax and that kind of thing. But if they are paying it to me, do you think I will report? Because even under the assembly law, right, if I'm the owner and it's owner-occupier, I'm supposed to pay half the tax and not the full amount. So if somebody comes to rent a place and I don't want to pay it, I'll say, oh, he's my brother, right? So I end up not paying the tax on rent. You see, so we don't let the system be like, it's a good thing, no two ways about that. But there are so many different ways that people will try to take advantage of it and affect the usability of it. And so going forward, we need to look at critical issues people have raised and other things that may come up. But the way we react to it is what matters, because we talk about where you take the GPS location, for example. You see, when somebody says, oh, stand by the front side of your gate, right, or the side of your gate, depending on where you are standing, the 5 meters will actually go to the next person's house. For instance, I stood this morning and took one in front of my house, and the deviation is actually 10 meters. You get what I'm saying? And where my entrance door is to my neighbor is less than 5 meters. So in reality, if my next door also stands at that same location, he's really reading, and that does not negate the usefulness of the system.
Should we look at getting actually government leading this taking of addresses? In the past, we had government writing addresses on gates and things like that. Should we look at the combination of things?
Yes, it does not replace what the assemblies are already doing. It complements it. It makes it more efficient, you know, because certain things that we would have spent large sums of money to do could be done in another way, in a very easy way. If assemblies that I've worked with in the past, they pick national service people, individuals to go around collecting revenues, and we train them in GPS, so where the person you are collecting the daily toll or daily tax from is, you map the location. Once you map it consistently, we can be tracking it. That is fair. If the person moves and goes somewhere, it means we have to delete that address and use a different one. Because you see, like I said, people don't even tell you their real names because of tax evasion and all the other issues that come with it.
And the system will not fix that?
The system cannot automatically, because it's a computer system, garbage in, garbage out. So the reality is that it's the information we feed in.
It's supposed to be linked to other informations,
correct.
Like
so,
getting your ID cards,
okay.
Opening
correct.
An account and things like that.
So that is one of the good things.
Wouldn't that deal with that?
That is one of the good things, because you realize that even the during the election, people have registered, they've taken their biometric, but we still have issues with it. But that does not negate the system, right? So it's a system that we need to start looking at different ways, because it's a database system. And every database system, you have to put certain constraints to limit people.
You think it's currently too open?
It's very open. So for instance, so many people have multiple phone numbers. Remember, over the last 4 years, there was a system that before you use a phone, you have to register it. It got to a point, by the time you bought the SIM card, it's already registered, and you don't know why. So ideally, if everybody registers the SIM card, the phone number you put in could have been used to tie you, but we don't have that. So going forward, if we get the individual identification coming in, then now you fix one of the loopholes, because your identification number will be unique, only one number. So you put that in and you are tied. Of course, they are using NHS numbers, which could also tie people. So it's good. So we just need to look at all these issues coming up and fix one that will make things unique, such a way that you cannot be changing your identity over time.
Well, we'll go for a short break. I know you want to react to that, but we'll go for a short break. When we come back, we will continue the discussion. This is Agenda on TV3. We are looking at the Ghana Post GPS and its connection and role to the national development. We'll be back shortly. Yeah, welcome back to Agenda on TV3. We are looking at the Ghana Post GPS and its role in helping national development. Mr. Opoku, you wanted to talk about some challenges that you have identified.
Thank you. I understand that this registration can be done on smartphone. I'm looking at the market penetration of smartphone in Ghana, meaning that those who do not have smartphone, how are they going to get registered? Number two, my information is that we take the point from the center of the town and number it downwards to the periphery. If a district is subdivided, so that part of the district becomes another district, it means that those who are moving into the new district, their number will change because they have to take it from the center of the town of the next district, of the new district. This means that the way we keep subdividing the district, probably after every 5 years, you have to change your addressing system. But we have wanted an addressing system that will last as long as possible. There's always this challenge of, and I think it's been mentioned, any name, any data you put on the system, it takes it. So your name, the name you are registering, whether it's correct or not, probably until we get the other systems of ID for the one that launched recently,
The
all
national
together.
ID, the Ghana card.
So that once you mention a certain name, you cannot change anything on that. It registers with it and it comes out. Until that thing comes out, we are going to have multiple of problems in, finalizing and getting a complete data. My only joy is that I'm yet to hear them saying that this one is the final thing and it can do everything. We still need all the other agencies. For example, Land Use and Spatial Planning Authority, who will be on the ground even to help support placing the labels on the walls. In Ghana, if you build a house, you are supposed to go to the Land Use and Spatial Planning Authority to get your parcel number and fix it on your wall. This law has been enforced sufficiently. We need everybody to go and get it down on their walls so that when this digitizing thing is happening, you will know. One thing also that even if it is complete.
Isn't it a problem with enforcement? Because
enforcement. So
the law is there.
I'm adding that we need to add all this enforcement. If you build a house, go for your property number and come and fix it. Because even with this digitizing thing, when the navigation comes, it will stop on the street where the house is. Either the house is on the right or left, it cannot tell you. But if you know the number and the thing is stopping somewhere, then you know that I'm going to a house number, because we number the odd numbers on one side and the even numbers on the other side. If it's an even number, then I know that I'm looking for the house on the right or the left. So all these needs to be put together to ensure that we are finally. Eventually, what I'm saying is that we need all other agencies, including my own agency, Land Use and Spatial Planning Authority, to come on board and to support this thing to run it fully. Yeah.
How is Ghana Post preparing to link up, or what linkages do you have with all these agencies? Because you need all of them to make this fully operational.
Yes, we had all these institutions part of the project. It was not a project that was handled by only Ghana Post. So we had reps from these other agencies. Let me quickly talk about a few things that have been mentioned here. The first thing is that this is a system that's supposed to provide the digital address, which it is doing now. Okay, definitely there will be other benefits that it will bring. We will need other stakeholders to play their part for those benefits to be realized by everybody and all the institutions that need to benefit from those things. In terms of tagging, Ministry of Communication is working on tagging about 4,000 government institutions. Okay, so government institutions are going to be tagged with their digital addresses. Ghana Post is also putting in place a system to enable people tag their houses with their digital addresses. So there'll be opportunity for people to get their digital addresses by their walls, and that will be handled by Ghana Post. Ghana Post will support in that.
Ghana Post will support the MMDS to do that? Tagging, say that again, you are tagging the addresses to the houses and
yes,
you display them on the walls?
Yes, we do deliveries. Okay, so we want to use the opportunity to sell receptacles and also tags, so you can have your parcels, your letters coming straight to your house. Instead of going to post office to pick it, we will create that opportunity for individuals and institutions to have this. On the issue of people putting in wrong data. This will be linked to the national ID. When you are registering, you are required to use either your passport, your license, or your NHIS, which is unique to an individual. So you have to actually put in the
Can I only use the address when it's registered, or I can use it when I have the code? Because currently, when you download, you are able to get your address, your digital address.
For official use.
With or without registration.
For official use, you have to register it. Because all the institutions that you use, that will use the data you have, will have to verify those with Ghana Post. Or verify your address with Ghana Post. So you have to register your address on the system. That is saving it in the National Digital Property Addressing System, so that can be accessed by other institutions for their use. So that is very important. On the issue of smartphone, okay.
Make it brief, we don't have a lot of time.
So there is an offline app that the developer has provided. So people who do not have smartphones can contact their nearest Ghana Post office, and they'll be helped to get their addresses wherever they are in the country. The system is robust. As you know, life is dynamic. There will be changes in technology as the years go by. The system will be updated as and when to accommodate new districts and new things that will come into the country.
Dr. Barima, moving forward, what should we be focusing on?
Well, I think we want to get the system work and eliminate doubts and guessworks and things like that. One of the critical issues that will make this quite useful is the issue of individual identification. And I'm not happy with the idea that somebody can use NHIS card, somebody can use passport, somebody can use it. It's a database system. And so you need a unique system that will work.
We've had issues with NHIS card in this country.
So you need one system that will help you sort things out, because that is the critical point that will make the system safe. So for me, we need to focus on one. Because when I am a GIS person, one of the things I do, I go to hospitals, I get people's record to study diseases, and the address you do, I geocode it, and I get to your house. You know, so I can study disease patterns and everything and predict. However, if you allow these kind of multiple things, then I don't have a unique field that I can use to tie to the building or the property.
In your view, which one would be easier? Is it the Ghana card that is coming up, or the?
I think
because
the Ghana
not every
card
Ghanaian has
perfect.
a passport.
The Ghana card will be perfect because it's a system that is coming where the because our passport in the past we've had other people using Ghanaian passport when they are not Ghanaians.
And not every Ghanaian has a passport.
Not everybody, and it's even difficult to get passport in Ghana anyway. So if you can have the Ghana card, which is open to everybody,
or the voters ID.
The voters ID, you will eliminate those who are below 18 years. So so we need to get it done and get that unique ID. That will make it safer and more useful.
Mr. Poku, moving forward, what should we be doing to make sure that
all the other supporting agencies, the National Card, Land Use and Special Plan Authority, plus Ministry of Local Government, adding up the support to the municipal assemblies, the assemblies to be able to put up their bit into making the whole thing comprehensive. I think that it should be supported. For example, if the government were to support the assemblies to complete this street name and address system, it will help and make faster the implementation of the GPR.
Right. Yeah. And your last words, what should we be expecting from Ghana Post in a few seconds?
Please expect Ghana Post to turn around within the shortest possible time because of this project and other things we are putting in.
A new Ghana Post.
A new Ghana Post.
A new Ghana Post. How do we download the app?
It is simple. You just go to, if you are using Android or you are using smartphone,
Android or iOS.
Or iOS.
You just go to your store
and you download Ghana Post GPS. When you download, it will ask you for your name, ask you for a telephone number. You quickly update that. It will send you a code, and you are there. You press on get address. You get address of where you are. If you want to register your house address,
you use passport.
You stand in front of your gate, you register. You use voter's ID or driver's license or passport. Just to correct, initially I mentioned NHIS.
NHIS, no NHIS.
No NHIS. It is voter's ID, your license or your passport.
Thank you very much. This is a discussion on the digital property address system known as the Ghana Post GPS and how it affects development. Thank you very much, gentlemen. And my guests have been Mr. Kweku Tabiamponsan. We had Mr. Alfred Kwesi Opoku and Dr. Alex Berima Owusu, helping us to do this very important discussion. And we also spoke on via Skype with Mr. Stephen Jabba. And thank you very much, Mr. Jabba, for joining us. And thank you for joining us every Sunday at 3 to 4 on Agenda. Thanks to the production team. My name is Deborah Kwabla. God willing, next week we'll be here, we'll bring you another discussion. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye.